Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying the content. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, founder of Asexualist Academy, founder of asexualist.com, and the author of Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity, which is out on Amazon. And today I have a special episode for you. This is all about the logical truth about relationships you need to know about it. It's the second time I've tried to do this because I have problems with my iPad. So here it goes. So if you watch my previous couple of videos, you will know that I have hyperromanticism, which is where you're very, very excessively, extremely romantic. I'm asexual that doesn't experience any platonic attraction whatsoever. So I jump from the stage of just meeting someone to having feelings for them really quickly and attractions for them really quickly. I also have attractions for my best friends, which is just like, it's a bit weird, but it is the way it is. But during the third phase, there's like a third stage of hyperromanticism, is when you begin to think logically. So the first stage in a hyperromantic state is where you've got all the loved up feelings, the romance, the high on the love feelings and the romantic feelings. The second stage is where you come down and you kind of get really scared because you've felt this way about this person really quickly, and you know, it's like there's a lot of anxiety and stuff. And the third stage is when you start being logical. This is the third stage of hyperromanticism, but this logic applies to any relationships, right? Where you're looking for a relationship, like where it's a romantic one or a queer platonic one. It's really, really important. And also, to a certain extent, it does apply to friendships as well. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. And so I really wanted to talk to you about this because it's so important, because it'll save you a lot of heartache and pain. It'll be short-term heartache and pain, possibly, but for long-term gain. So this person that I Skyped the other day, they're a beautiful trans Indian guy. And I really like them a lot. I got on really well with them on Skype. You know, I thought they were quite special in a lot of ways. I thought they were a really nice person and very beautiful looking, and I got on really well with them. And because obviously I'm interested in Indian guys, I'm very attracted to them. There was a lot of qualities that I liked during the conversation. I loved how we got on so well. I loved how they were attentive to my needs when I was talking. They're very good at listening, and I liked all that about them. However, when all the hyperromanticism is kind of like coming down and the logic takes over, it's very apparent to me the differences between me and them in terms of a potential relationship. And it's kind of a little bit sad because as a hyperromantic, I'll probably always have the notion of what if with this person, because that's kind of the nature of being a hyperromantic. But you know, and I think everyone to a degree has that. You know, when you have an idea in mind of this person that you want to be in a potential relationship with, you kind of want to make them that right person for you. But logically, they can't always be the right person. Maybe they're great in their own right. Maybe you're great in your own right, but just together, you're not going to be the great as you should be for each other. So in order to have a successful relationship, the fundamentals you must get right are the expectations of that potential relationship. You know, the expectations of that potential relationship. Also your wants, needs, likes and dislikes. Your opinions and beliefs on things. And also your life goals, ambitions and dreams. These are 4 essential things that you really, really need to be getting right from the off. And the most important thing is that you understand yourself and what you want in a relationship. Because if you don't understand exactly what you want in a relationship, you will just go and get the wrong person for you. And it'll be heartbreak for them and for you, because you'll be trying to force each other. You'll want to make it work, but you can't make it work because you're fundamentally different people or want different things. However nice you are in your own right, you just don't gel together in a relationship sense because your goals, ambitions and dreams are far too far apart. you know. And it is sad, you know. I mean, it doesn't mean to say that down the line in years to come, one of you won't naturally change, but you shouldn't bank on them changing. You don't want a person that's, you know, you don't want to make a person change, or you don't want to, you know, you don't want to put a person in that situation where they feel they have to change. It's up to them, you know, and either of you could change. You could change the opposite way. You could go more apart from each other. At those things that I've just discussed with you, you know, you have to make sure that the fundamentals are right there, you know, that the expectations of a relationship are right. If you are interested in, you know, if you have certain expectations of a relationship, they have certain expectations of a relationship, and they don't marry up, one of you or both of you is going to be extremely disappointed. If you don't have the shared interests and beliefs, the important things, and you rub each other up the wrong way, then that's going to be no good, because you know, especially if that's in the beginning and they're not agreeing with you and you're not agreeing with them, then you're not going to get on long term. It's just going to be a battle that you don't want to have to go down, because at the end of the day, you're lovely people in and of your own right. You just don't see the same viewpoint. And then, you know, you've got to, you know, if your life goals, ambitions and dreams are completely different or very far off the mark, then that's not going to work either. And how you know all this is you have to know by knowing yourself. And you can come across people that say they don't know what they want, but when you actually ask them, like, boing, 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 do all this, that and the other, they'll say no. Like, for example, I don't ever want children. You know, that's something I don't want to do. I haven't wanted children since I'm 15 years old. That's a deal breaker for me. You have to be talking about these things really, really soon on. Like, this person didn't want kids either. So that was great, you know, but there's other things, you know, like, I've spoke to you before about an Indian guy that lived in the UK that was that was, you know, asexual, which is great. Asexual Indian guy living in the UK, brilliant. You think those three things are amazing, yeah? But he had an apartment in Spain that he wanted to move to, and he loved travelling, and I don't, and I didn't want to move to Spain. So at the end of the day, that relationship was never going to work. And I was very upfront from the beginning. And plus, they're older than me, you know? They're older than me in their outlook and the things they like to do. And I just would have never have worked for me. So, you know, I'm prolific, as you know. I'm highly prolific on the internet. And I need someone who's a strong guy in that respect, you know? Like, I've mentioned it before, like, the majority of foreign guys that I come across, they don't want people to know they're asexual. They're very much in hiding about it. They very much, you know, this applies to a lot of foreign guys I've met, you know, they don't want the world to know they're asexual. But I need someone who's proud to be asexual with me, or even if they're not. You know, I mean, I don't think I'd ever end up with a heterosexual, because I can't be with someone who's heterosexual. But if they did, you know, I need them to be still proud they're with an asexual person, you know. And so this particular person I got so well with when I Skyped, you know, I had to tell them that, you know, there's fundamentally, you know, things that are different. I said to them, you know, that I'm looking for in the future, I'm just going to read some of my stuff that I wrote out on Skype. I can't reveal all the conversation because it's private, but I can say obviously my feelings. That I said that, you know, I'm looking for a relationship in the future with a guy who is happy to be my life partner and be seen with me on social media. So, such as my Facebook profile. I mean, that's quite natural. You know, if we're going out together for the day, it's nice to snap pictures. That's what couples do. That's what normal couples do. I know I don't want a normal relationship, but that's what couples do. And that's particularly what I want to do, regardless of what anyone else wants to do. You know, and I need public displays of affection, like kissing, cuddling and holding hands. That's no good for a person who doesn't like doing that, you know. And I mean, I don't know what they feel about that, but I'm just saying what I feel. You know, and it's really important for me that I have someone who's proud to be with me, you know. And I need a super strong guy in this respect. You know, this is who I am. This is me. And I don't care what the world thinks. I'm with Sandra, and that is the awesome type of person, you know. And so that's the type of person I need. And if you know, a lot of the foreign guys I meet, you know, the majority of them, they don't want to have that type of life where they're proud to be seen with me on social media. But that's ridiculous, you know. I'm not going to settle for anything less, You know, I deserve a guy who will be proud to be seen with me. And you know, I know everyone's different. Some people might not like that. And that's fine. I respect that. Just that's not the type of person I want, you know. I'm only going to get more highly prolific in entrepreneurship as well, not just about asexuality, and throughout my life in coming years because of my goals, ambitions and dreams. And this is what I said to you about setting the expectation early on and talking with each other about what you expect in the partnership and what you expect in a future relationship. Because if those goals, ambitions and dreams and the way you want the relationship to be doesn't gel, it's not compatible, there's no point in going down that rabbit hole and causing yourself a lot more pain and stress and anxiety and worry when clearly you can't fit a square peg in a round hole. It's not going to work, you know. I said I appreciate that we can only be friends right now because they don't even live in this country, but I think in the future that it might be best that we're just that rather than a relationship, because I want for them, you know, they love travelling so much, I don't. And I want them to have someone who loves travelling with them as much as they want to, you know, as much as they love it. I had an Indian young guy that I talked to quite a long time ago who lived in India. And if you don't know, I particularly like Indian guys. That's why I keep bringing up Indian guys. And you know, he wanted to go travelling and I wasn't that type of person. And then I spoke to him, I think it was on Skype by message last year. And he's married now to a girl who loves travelling as much as he does. And they go around travelling together. They haven't got any kids. And I'm just so happy for him, you know, because he got the person he wanted to and he hung on for the person he wanted to. This person, I have no doubt, will get someone to love them and to be in a relationship with them and to give them the love and care and attention that they need. You know, they deserve it. I have no doubt about that in my mind. I just can't provide what they need and they can't provide what I need, you know, in a relationship. I know that. They just can't. Because, you know, I need someone who's going to love doing the things I love doing and they're going to need someone who loves doing the things they're doing. And they're quite more private than I am. And I'm not, I don't want a person to be out on social media like I am, like 365 days a year doing everything I'm doing, like on here. I'm quite happy to have you know, I don't need someone exactly like me, but you know, you've got to have the fundamentals right. And if the fundamentals of what you want in a relationship and they want in a relationship now and in the future is not right, you know, if your 5-year plan doesn't gel together, it's never going to work, is it? You know, and I'm telling you this now so that you can avoid a lot of heartache and pain, you know, in your coming years of relationships. You know, it's very easy, especially if you are a romantic person, to let logic go out the window. But if you are an aromantic person, I think you have more logic in general. You know, I do think that's a good thing about being an aromantic asexual. You tend to look at things a lot more logically because you haven't got all the relationship, like love, romance feelings kind of like clouding it. But you might get so close to someone platonically that you might really want to make that work. Do you see what I mean? You might want to make it work, especially like with friendships as well. If you don't have a ton of friends, you might really want to make that friendship work. And there are ways that you can make a friendship work a lot more easily than a relationship, because with friendships, you know, you're not going to spend as much time together. You're not going to be like having the same like constant needs that you have in a relationship, in the sense of, you know, like lovey-dovey. I mean, like for example, if I have a friend and I don't see them for a while, a few weeks, it doesn't really bother me. But if I had a romantic partner that I didn't see for weeks on end, that would bother me, you know, because it's more intimate. I need more intimacy. So you know, like they like traveling and I don't. And you know, I just said about my life, you know, like my situation, you know, is different to theirs. You know, I don't have the money to go around traveling. I'm not in the financial position to do that at the moment. And when I do have finance, you know, my finances, I get sorted this year, and you know that I have a lot more money, I want to be plowing that money into savings that have dwindled down considerably, especially since I was made redundant in 2017. And I want to put it, you know, into supporting myself, you know, because I got my home here. You know, I don't have anyone to look after me in my home financially. I've got to put food, you know, pay bills, rent, food on the table, like I'm sure a lot of you do. You know, I can't go around just, you know, traveling, using loads of money to travel, and I don't have the money, and B, if I did, I'm not interested in traveling all around the world. I know a lot of asexuals are. I think it's a common commonality on asexual dating sites. Actually, I don't think this person will have a problem finding someone, because there's tons of people that like traveling. Actually, I think it's more of a case that a lot of people don't like traveling. A lot of people do like traveling, and it's a rare case that people don't like traveling. Like, even my British guy friend, Andy, he's like me in the sense he doesn't like need to travel around world, but he needs a lot of walking, like for hours on end in the UK, and I really respect him for that. He keeps fit, it's really good for him, and you know, he's amazing like that. He walks for hours a day, but I can't physically do that anyway, because I have fibromyalgia, as you know. I need to be near a toilet and things like that, and I need to be near my creature comforts, you know. And so I could go for like a walk around the quayside near where I live, but that'd be about it, you know. And I know other people love nature. I'm not bothered. A tree to me is a tree. I'm grateful for the oxygen it produces and the beautiful leaves and the different colours it turns, you know. And the fact we have trees is amazing. I love it. But that's about it, you know. And so I'm, you know, if I go to round the world at any point, which I doubt I'll do because I don't like flying, but if I went away, I would like to go to theme parks, zoos, aquariums. And if I did travelling with someone who just wanted to take in scenery, that to me would be boring, but it would be very, very stimulating for a lot of other people. So I think that, you know, you've just got to marry these things up, you know. Are your expectations the same? Do you have similar viewpoints on stuff? Do you have similar life goals, ambitions and dreams? Because, you know, my life is such that my finances are not in a position where I can go doing loads of travelling. When my finances improve, I'm going to be saving lots, because that's what I want to do. It's really important, like, whatever age you are, to start saving money, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like, I was made redundant in 2017, right? I lost my job of 5 years. If I hadn't had some savings, I wouldn't have been able to pay for food for myself, you know? And if I was to get into a relationship with someone who wanted me to go travelling and pay for loads of places to go to, I don't have that money. You know, my priority as an independent female person who lives on her own, I have to spend that money on keeping a roof over my head, food in my belly, and bills, pay bills, and that's the actual truth. So although in the airy fairy tale land you might want to go all around the world with the person, it's not, you know, always logical or practical to do that. And when I do have money, it's really important that you invest your money, you know. I cannot stress this enough. Like, it's important that you save money, that you invest money for your future, that you buy assets, you know. Like, you know, like, I love this being a flat, but it's not going to be here forever because I don't own it. Do you see what I mean? So I have, like, you know, I'd like to have a house maybe in the future, or have a house to rent out while I live here. You know, I don't necessarily have to move from here. I could just buy a house and rent it out. I don't have I'm way off the mark of financing that at the moment, you know. But so you have to, like, see what the other person wants, you know. Do they want to go travelling? Do they want to go backpacking? Do they want to go camping? Do they want, like, a carefree sort of life in that? Or do they want a lot of, you know, a lot of the same things as you, like to settle down, as in, like, have a stable home environment, and maybe, like, I don't know, go 1 or 2 weeks holiday a year together or something. And do you if you like travelling, I don't like travelling, the only place I like travelling to is in this country, like London or places in here, and like I'd like Disneyland Paris, but that's really about it. And so you know, like I said to this person, we have different life goals and interests in this respect. You know, I live on my own, so financially have to support myself, you know, and I'm very much a case of working on my goals, ambitions and dreams every day. Like, other people out playing, doing what they're doing, watching telly, I'm in here, like, blogging, vlogging, you know, like writing, doing website design, you know, like working on other business projects. You know, I'm going to be more prolific in the future because I'm going to be doing more with entrepreneurship. I've got a new business that I'm starting up for entrepreneurs that I've been busy working on, but I keep getting, you know, like, at the moment it's not going quite according to planning. So I'm a really business girl, you know, and it would be quite good for me to get a guy who's equally into business, building assets, building stable future together. You know, that to me is more important than going around travelling to loads of places, just spending money doing that. I don't, because I'm not that interested in travelling, it's not a huge benefit to me. Do you see what I mean? It's actually like wasting my money when I'm not going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like, not put, you need to put, like, I wished I'd known this years ago that you need to put money into assets, things that are going to be making you money, or things that are going to be like, you know, like, so if you get a house, you can either live in it yourself or you can rent it out and make money on it while you're renting it out. Do you see what I mean? You can live in another property and rent that out for loads of different people and make a profit on it if you want to go down that route. But, you know, like, a house is an asset if it's like within your budget. I mean, I'm single, I've not got the money to do that at the moment, not even a deposit down, and you know, I love living here, so it's not in my immediate vicinity like I want to do it, but I love staying here as well. Like, I want an asexual guy to move to live near me in the UK. If that guy doesn't like living in the UK, or they can't live in the UK, that is highly incompatible, excuse me, in the first place. So you've really got to hone down what you want, you know. People think I'm a bit crazy sometimes, like, oh, you're very specific, and I am super specific, and it's good to be, because what's the point in being with someone for a year down the line and say they decide, oh, I want a baby now, I want to get, you know, I want a kid, and it's like, well, I don't want that. You've just wasted a year of your life with them. I know someone at my old job, right, and she got into a relationship with this guy, and they were with each other, living with each other, I think nearly in a relationship for about 1.5 to 2 years. And she came to me, she said, oh, no, we've split up. And I said, why? Was it because you wanted kids and he didn't? Excuse me. I said, why? Was it because you wanted kids and he didn't? And she was like, yeah, how did you know that? And I'm like, because I had that conversation with him before. You know, but I wasn't his girlfriend. I just talked to him as a friend. So sorry about the lag on this video. It's really bad, isn't it? So, you know, but if she'd have talked to him about that before they even got together, then she would have saved herself 1.5 to 2 years of being with the wrong guy. You know, so people do not sort the fundamental basics out before they get into a relationship. They don't talk about these things. You have to talk, you know, what do you want? Marriage, kids, living together, living near each other. Do you want to travel? Do you not want to travel? What type of, you know, job do you want in the future? Where do you want to be living in the future? You know, if you haven't got all these things sorted out, and you know, like, you know, you should be sorting these out before, so that the first, like, few days or few hours you spend Skyping the person, you should be getting to know all this stuff about them. Because if you get to know about this stuff about them and you're not compatible because you both have got different goals, ambitions and dreams, then it's better to stop it before it starts. It doesn't mean to say you can't be friends with them. You know, like, it might be like, I'm not saying I'm going to change or they're going to change, but it might be in the future that that person who likes loads of travelling decides to stop, you know, wants to settle down and not so bothered about travelling. Or it might be that the other person wants to do more travelling. But, you know, I know myself and I know that person, and that's never going to happen, I don't think. So, do you know what I mean? You have to live in the moment, you know, you have to find the right person for you right now, or just stay single, you know, stay single and wait for the right person to come along. I do believe the right person's out there for me, but to be honest, I'm so used to being single now as well, that it's going to be very difficult for me to be with someone. I'm used to doing things my way. I'm used to living on my own. I'm used to, like, you know, like, I know what I want, you know, and I know that you can do things for the person you love, but why should you have to force yourself to do things just because you love a person when really it's not making you happy? You know, you could end up doing that with everything, like going places with them you don't really want to be, that's not really making you happy because you love that person. Love is all good and well, but you have to love yourself more. You know, I can't be to the point where I love a person, but I'm everywhere I go with them, I'm just going because they like it and I don't, because that's not loving myself. That's just being miserable. That's just basically me going along with it because I've got these love feelings for them. That's not a relationship. That's more like people that are just going to end up resenting each other, or, you know, like, because they just, you know, it's not pleasant. You know, I've never had an actual asexual date as such, but I have been with a guy years ago. We met up in London together. He's asexual and I'm asexual, and I think I've told you this before in a video, like, we went round Shrek Adventureland together and I absolutely loved it and he didn't like it very much, and I could tell all the way throughout the Shrek Adventureland adventure by his face that he wasn't really enjoying it that much, and I just didn't enjoy the experience as much because I've got someone who's quite miserable about the thing. Yeah, they put on a good front, you know, but I you know, they didn't really like it that much. I don't want to be with someone like that where I'm taking them around somewhere that they're not as enthusiastic as me, because to be quite honest, I'd much rather go on my own. I've been to Shrek Adventure loads on my own. And when I go there and I don't have that type of person with me, I am ecstatic, I'm electric, I'm enjoying the moment, the world is amazing, I'm in my own loved up way, you know, I'm really, really happy and excited, and it feels awesome because I haven't got any person's aura dragging down the feeling of being so great. Do you see what I mean? And if I go with this person, I respect the fact that they don't like going around zoos or aquariums because of their feeling towards animals. And I really love and respect the fact that they love animals so much. I love animals too, but I get a lot of pleasure and satisfaction about going around aquariums, and I know they probably do that if they loved me in a relationship because they've said so, but I don't want them to be forcing themselves to do something just for the sake they love me, because it's like, I know they're not going to enjoy it, and every time I walk around with them I'm going to be like, well, in my head, I know you're not enjoying this, I know it feels bad for you, so why do I want to put them in that position? I don't. So I just know that this person would be far better off with someone who likes traveling as much as them and doesn't like going to places that I do like that, because if I went traveling, I'd want to go to zoos and aquariums throughout the whole country, or even abroad, a zoos, aquarium, theme park. That's all I want to do, and go out for meals and like theatre shows or whatever. That's the type of thing I do. I don't want to sit there and go through a wood and look at nature, or go and look at the beach. That's not who I am, which is what a lot of people like doing. I don't not want to sit by the pool reading a book. That bores the heck out of me. And that's why I love being on my own so much. That's why I do love being single. I love self-dating, because I never bored of myself. I absolutely love my life. I love going to all the places, and because I've got no one with me who's not enjoying themselves, because I'm with me and I enjoy myself like to the highest hilt, I've got none of that bad atmosphere, and I that's one relief that I found being single. I have not got that atmosphere of the guy next to me not enjoying it, moaning. My ex used to be in the cinema with me, didn't really understand why I wanted to watch all the credits of the film. It's like, I don't need that in my life. I don't want negativity. I don't want a person's aura to be like sat there not really enjoying the film, and it's like, oh, why have you chosen this? Like, in a really negative attitude towards me. So I think it's really important that you get the right person from the off for you. Otherwise, if you are more happier going to places on your own, doing things on your own, just stay on your own. I love the idea of romance. I love the idea of a wonderful relationship. I love the idea of love, but at the same time, if that person can't match my needs and I can't match theirs, there's no point, is there? The logical truth about relationships is you fundamentally have to have all the fundamentals right. You have to be having the same expectations in a relationship. Do you know that's one of the main number one reasons people split up? Heterosexuals split up for the fact they've got unrealistic expectations of each other. That's not just about sex, that's about, life in general together. They split up over money as well. They don't always split up over sex. That is kind of like what just people think, oh, like it's to do with sex. It's not actually. Usually it's to do with like unclear expectations, like with each other. They expect different things from each other. So one person expects one thing from the other person expects the other thing. They haven't discussed it in the very beginning of their relationship or potential relationship, so it's disastrous. And then the other thing's money. I don't want to live with someone. I don't want that problem. I have money problems, like I was, like now I'm not financially where I want to be, but I look after myself. It's my responsibility. My money, I can control myself, I don't want any joint bank accounts or, to be sharing my money with anyone. I want my money, their money, their money. They can live in their place and spend their money on whatever they want, My ex used to go and buy tons of clothes. He bought more clothes than I did, and like, it's like the bed that we used to be in. It used to be horrible for me. It used to hurt my back. The springs used to be coming through, but he didn't care about that. All he cared about was spending money on video games and loads of clothes and stuff, and he wasn't a very nice guy, He used to have a go at me when my back was hurting and stuff, He wouldn't bother getting curtains that were like hanging off the wall, or it didn't have, that I couldn't, I needed the curtains across, but when there's no curtains or they're hanging off, and I know I'm not the most housey person of the year, which you know about, but you know what I mean? I do make sure I've got curtains to draw across. Hi, Michael, nice to see you. So you know what I mean? It's different things and priorities. That's why I don't want to live with someone, because money is, like if a person wants to go and spend all their money on traveling, that's fine, but I don't want to live with a person like that when I've got bills to pay, and I want to pay my money on different things. So if you live separately, then you can actually, allocate your money to how you want it to be. If they've got their own place, they pay for their own place, they want to spend loads of money on clothes and video games or go traveling, that's up to them. It doesn't really matter then, does it? Because they're not affecting your life. But when you live together, you're both affecting each other's lives, whether you like it or not. So unless you get the right compatibility of type of person to live with each other, it's not going to work. This is the same for friends as well. You know, if you decide you want to do a house share, which some asexuals do want to do, especially aromantic asexuals, right? You might want to do a house share. But if you haven't all got the same mentality over paying for bills, like your share of the food. So I lived in this house once, right? Which was a shared house, not asexual house, but shared house, right? And we had to share the money for the kitchen. But because some people weren't in the kitchen, like some people would be in the kitchen 3 days a week, some people would be in the kitchen 1 day a week, the people that were in the kitchen 1 day a week did not want to put money in the meter for the rest of the week. They didn't want to share it out into equal amounts because they're like, well, no, you're in the kitchen 3 days a week or whatever. I'm only in it one. Why should I pay for more money when you're in the kitchen 3 days a week? That's not right. And there was times in that kitchen where the meter wasn't money, nobody was putting money in the meter. And food was going unfreezing out the freezer and the food was ruined. So you're wasting money on food then. And that's because you're living with people who have different expectations, different lifestyles to you and want different things. And so just because I'm talking about these fundamentals, you know, I talked about it being relationships, it applies to friendships and housemates and living together as well, you know. It's like if you live with a housemate and they are a traveller, say they take a month to travel out, are they still going to pay their part of the rent for the whole month they're not there? Or they got that money and want to spend on travelling? It's like, no, I'm not paying rent now, I'm off. Do you see what I mean? You've got to sort all the fundamentals out of any type of relationship where you're going to be sort of in a relationship together or having a platonic relationship, or if you're having a house share, you know, you have to make sure all these are correct. You know, like say you get a mortgage with someone for a house share, right? You know, like I know some people do this as friends, you know, they pay half the mortgage each, they live together as friends. I know sexuals that do this, not just, you know, like asexuals that want to do it. I know sexuals that have done this. I know a gay guy and he lives with a female, yet he's gay. And they live together and they've got a place together, you know, and he owns the, he's got a mortgage on the property because he won some money, like 27 grand on the lottery or whatever, house postcode lottery in the UK. And, you know, and he wanted a lodger and they've been friends for years. So she moved in. But, you know, like you have to make sure that you're compatible to live together in that arrangement. You know, they're not in a relationship, but they still need to make sure there's compatibility there, you know. So if you've got people that are in the house, are they equally going to do all the housework, you know? Like, if you're a person that doesn't like doing housework and doesn't want to do it, that's fine. If you've got, like, I've got my own kitchen here. I live in a self-contained flat. It doesn't matter what I do in my kitchen. It doesn't affect anyone else. You know what I mean? But if I lived in a shared house with someone, then my actions would, and their actions would affect me. It's different, isn't it? Do you see what I mean? So this is why you have to get the fundamentals right of whatever. You know, this is a logical truth that, you know, like when people want to hear all the airy-fairy stuff like the romance and the passion and or the camaraderie, the, you know, the I really want to be in a house share because I like having people around me. It's not actually that simple. You have to think about the long term. About, like I said, if, like, you know, you do rent a place together or get a mortgage together, what happens if that person gets a partner and wants to move out in the future? You know, you're 5 years into a mortgage with them and they're just like, well, you know, I don't want to be here anymore. I've got a partner now. I'm moving in with them. You know, where does that leave you financially? Can you afford to have the rest of the place? Are you going to have to get another lodger, someone you don't know? You don't even know if you're going to like them. Or how long is it going to be before you can get another lodger? You know, what happens if you get a partner, you've got a lodger, and you want the other partner to move in with you, but maybe you want them to move in the other place because you don't want to live together in a room? You know what I'm saying? Is you have to be really practical and logical and think very early on in the potential relationship or potential platonic relationship or potential flatmate house share relationship, what you actually want, your goals, ambitions and dreams, your needs. And so when people are looking at a house share, they probably don't even think that it matters what the other person wants to do with their life, but it does. Because fundamentally you are sharing something. You are responsible as joint people. It's like teamwork, you know. You know, if you work in a shop or an organisation and you have these teams and Some people in the teams aren't pulling their weight because their heart's not in it. They're not interested in it. It bores them. They don't want to do it. Their personality is not right for their role in that environment. They don't want to work as part of a team. They want to do stuff on their own. It's not going to work, is it? Do you know what I mean? I personally am better off working on my own than in a team. I'll tell you that now. It's the actual truth, you know? If you put me in a huge team and you put me working one-to-one and they say, here's your targets, just for you, go and get it. I am better off going and get my own targets, do my own thing and leading myself than I am being in a group where you've got to like come together. I'm better in groups than I used to be though, because I do asexual meetups now, and my group skills have improved immensely, and I understand more about group dynamics now. I'm better in groups, you know, but that doesn't mean to say I get on with everyone in a group, but I'm better, you know. If you've got the right people, then groups can be amazing, you know, because you can experience more together with energy and vitality. So I'm blessed to have had the experience, you know, of organising asexual meetups, because it's helped me loads with my group skills. But I think it's because I'm around like-minded people. I mean, a lot of people that come to my group, my meetups, they have got some anxiety like I have. I mean, so that's really good. So we understand each other fundamentally. And we're very good at catering to each other's needs. I try to, as the organiser, to cater to everyone's needs, you know, but you have to cater to your own needs as well. But I think, you know, that's great. You know, like, you have to discuss all this stuff way up front. Don't leave it till you're in the position of, oh, we're actually in this relationship now, or doing it. That's why it's much better to use your logical brain. And like I was saying, it seems to be that aromantic asexuals in general tend to have more logic where relationships are concerned. But you know, you just have to think through it if you want a house share, because I do know there's even asexuals in my asexual perspective book that saying that they love community, they love being a group of people, they love to do a massive house share, but that does come with its own consequences, and it does come with its own expectations. So before you even get to the house share thing, you need to be discussing who will pay the bills, how this will work, where the money will go, the cooking, the cleaning, everything like that. And that's why I like living on my own, because I don't want to do cooking and cleaning and rubbish like that. It's not interesting for me. I hate it. And if I was living with someone, you know, they'd expect me to do some of that, obviously, when I don't want to do it. I'm not interested in it, you know. If I live in my own place, what I do doesn't affect that person in general, you know, and they live in their own place. But even if they came over, I'd probably have to wash up more because they're over in my place, and like, you know, I want them to have some sense of like calmness. But you know, like, that's why I love living on my own so much. But just work out the fundamentals, you know, like, let's go through them again. You know, the expectations, that's the most important thing when you're considering a potential relationship or even a house share, platonic relationship. Expectations. Are the expectations in that future relationship together the same? Do you share similar beliefs and views on things? Because if your view, like, say, you know, this could cover politics, religion, sexuality, gender identity, it could cover, you know, like, just your beliefs, your morals, your ethics, your privacy, your extrovertism, your introvertism. You know, it could cover a lot of different things. You know, are your beliefs and morals and ethics, are they very similar in ways, or would you both be believing something that's going to rub each other up the wrong way? Not because they're wrong or you're right and they're right, but because probably you're right in your own right, they're right in their own right, and together you just don't work, but you're both beautiful people separately. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean to say someone's right or wrong, but it just means to say you're right. You know, people can be right or wrong for each other in a relationship or a house share or certain types of situations. Whereas separately, they can both be beautiful and wonderful people. You know, one person might not be great for you in a relationship or a house share, but they might be wonderful for someone else, you know? Like, I'm here on my own, right, a lot of the time. So even though I'm an extrovert, I have got a lot of introverted tendencies. Like, I spend hours and hours in my room on my own, just like listening to music, doing website design, doing blogging. Like, you know, I've got 3 blogs, not just my asexualized one, but other ones. You know, I'm doing this channel stuff, you know, like, I'm very, very active, proactive. I'm not sat watching telly. You know, I spend a lot of time on my own, so I've got a lot of introverted tendencies in that way, which kind of, like, you know, people who are introverted sometimes love traveling. To me, traveling's quite an extrovert thing, you know. They, you know, you're getting out, you're meeting tons of different people you've never met before, which can be quite anxiety inducing if you've got anxiety. You know, you're literally, you know, like mingling amongst thousands of people, maybe sometimes hundreds of people, different people you never know. And that's, to me, is quite an outgoing social thing, you know. And I'm an extrovert, but I'm not into travelling to loads of different places like that outside the UK. I don't have that need, the urge, or the want. I never have that. You know, most people, they like have this desire to travel and go to all these countries. That's true of a lot of people, but I don't have that. It's not in me at all. You know, it's like everything I have right now in my life is here. You know, I would like my asexual Indian soulmate to show up one day. I do believe he's out there, you know, and at least the foreign guy in my life, you know, asexual, I do believe he's out there. But the timing isn't right, obviously. This person that I've met recently, they're beautiful in their own right. Just me and them aren't compatible for each other, sadly, you know. And part of me, of course, thinks, oh, that's sad, and what if? But the current circumstances is that it's not meant to be. And like I said, sometimes people go out of your life and occasionally they do come back, and things have changed for one or both people, and then, you know, you're right to be together at that point. But, you know, if there's fundamental basics like beliefs and major differences in opinions, you know, you're going to rub each other up the wrong way. That person's going to be feeling bad, that other person's going to be feeling bad, and you're just going to like clash. So it's more healthy for you to say in the beginning, look, I think, you know, it's great if we want to be friends, but in a relationship, you know, it's not going to be right because I can't give you your needs, you can't give me my needs. And, you know, you have to put yourselves first. You know, you have to make sure your needs are satisfied, because once you start getting dissatisfied in a relationship, you'll start to feel sad and bad, and you'll start to expect more of the other person to come to your way of thinking. That other person will want you to go to their way of thinking more, and you'll just be constantly trying to be something you're not to please the other person and keep the relationship gelled together like glue. This is what happens with mismatched relationships, you know. Especially, I guess, with sexual relationships, you know, the sex is the thing that tries to bind them together, which, you know, doesn't work long term. They'll only sustain that, you know, it could sustain it for a number of years, but it won't work in the long run because they won't be happy, you know. They won't sustain that type of relationship. One of them will go off and have an affair, the other one will, you know, will just like, I don't know, start chatting to more people and not really care about the person they're with as much because they'll be pulling each other apart. And so you need to come together and you know, like care about each other, respect it, and grow together. So you need to have a sense of where you're going. Like I said earlier in this video, you need to have a sense of shared goals, ambitions and dreams. If my future goals in life are really in the UK, and I want to save money when I start getting more finances, and save maybe for a house, or, you know, like significantly save up my savings, you know, I want to settle, you know, I like being settled in the UK, you know, like, oh, obviously it'd be great if I had the money to go to Disneyland Paris once a year for a week or something. I'd love that. But, you know, fundamentally, I'm happy in the UK. I love living here, and I've got everything I need right now. A lot of people, you know, they go out and they look so much for everything else in their life that they don't have. They go all out in search of it all around the world, and it's like they're trying to get something. Some people just love going travelling, you know, because they just love the feeling and emotion and beauty of travelling, the hyper romance of travelling, which I appreciate. But some others go travelling to like find their life and themselves because they're searching for something they don't know what it is. Whereas I don't need to go around searching in the whole world for something which is right here in front of me. Myself, for a start, I'm very loving with myself, and I'm very good at self-dating these days, and I'm very good at enjoying my life. I enjoy my life right now, you know. I'm sat here. The sun is, I had to close the curtains because the sun's beaming through, and you couldn't even see my face on this screen, so that's why I've had to close the curtains. I mean, it's not particularly sunny, but it's nice and bright outside. But, you know, I'm sat here now, I'm in my beautiful flat by myself. I got beautiful pictures on the wall. I've got lots of warmth. I love myself. I've got beautiful asexual friends that are going to see me soon for my birthday next month, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. I've had a chat with my mum on the phone this morning to see how my little baby angel is. You know, she's my daughter, furry kid daughter, and say hi to my mum. And my mum's always backwards and forwards to the hospital because she's got eye problems, so she's going there next week. So, you know, but you know, and I like being around my family as well, because like my parents, I don't always see eye to eye with them, I'll admit. You know, we don't always get on as well as we wish we probably would, but I love my parents to bits, and I don't want to like be in another country and not see them. My mum's got a lot of health problems, and my angel's here as well, and I love her to bits, and so it's very important for me that I stay here. I wouldn't mind, if I wasn't living in Exeter, I'd live in London, but there's a lot of problems in London at the moment with violence and stuff, so I'm better off staying in Exeter. Like, there's been some problems in my city even as well with that type of thing, really bad stuff, so nowhere's safe. But if I was commuting to somewhere, traveling, I'd go to London because I love it. And so if I met someone who was asexual in London, I think I'd be okay with that, because it's like my second home. But at the moment, like I said, I don't have the finances, so you got to think practically, like there's no specific time that's best to have a relationship. Like, sometimes people come into your life and it's not the ideal time, and no one's perfect. So when you are looking at what you need in a relationship, you have to look at the deal breakers, the things that are a must for you. Like, I must have someone who doesn't want children. I must have that. I'm not important. There's a huge lag on this, sorry. It's hugely important that I get someone who doesn't want kids like me. I don't want marriage either, and it's really important that I get someone who has sort of same goals as me. Like, a business guy would be quite good, or someone who's into IT, because I could relate to them, because I do website design and things like that. And someone who wants to go to the same day trips as me. I like going out on day trips, so someone who wants to go to zoos, aquariums, theme parks and cinema and all the type of things I do by myself. I'd like a partner to do that with, because otherwise I may just well stay single. Do you know what I mean? It's less hassle to stay single a lot of the time. But I think when you meet the right person, I think that it won't be a hassle as much. It will be a joy. I think that any relationship is not perfect. I think that you never get the perfect person, so that what you have to do is you have to have your whole criteria written out for exactly what you're looking for, and you have to pick the person what comes into your life that's most closest to that criteria. That not everything might be perfect, not everything might be right, but that you've got as close as you can. And the deal breakers, you got the same deal breakers. So I don't want kids, they don't want kids. I don't want marriage, they don't want marriage. That's, I don't want to live with someone, they don't need to live with someone. And so they need to be the same. The deal breakers are really important issues. And also, like, certain beliefs and opinions, like, you can have differences of opinions, but if the fundamentals to do with relationship stuff are very, very different, and the angles, like, I will always be on this channel, right? Because I don't see myself ever stopping this channel, right? I love helping asexuals for my asexual life, but I'm very prolific online. I'm only going to get more prolific online, like I've mentioned earlier in this video. Someone's going to be okay with that. I've got to have a strong guy who is understanding that they don't need to be all over social media like I do. In fact, I'm happy for them not to be all over social media. But, however, I will be mentioning them in future videos, because I'll be helping you guys, saying, like I'm just talking now about my feelings about this person, I'm coming from my angle. I haven't said the stuff that they've said, in terms of other stuff, because it's private. But I will always want to help you guys. I can't, if I get a future relationship, it might be that the person wants to come on camera with me sometimes, because we might be going out somewhere. But if they don't want to be on camera, that is fine. But I certainly want them on like my own Facebook personal profile, which is out to the public. I'm not, I'd certainly want pictures of me and them snapped together on social media. They should be proud to be with me and happy to be seen with me, and I need a strong person in that respect. I need a guy who's very strong with women, who, if women come on to him, or they can say no to other women, who's kind to other people, but not to the extent where they just roll over for other women. Because I've got a lot of women in my past I know, and even I know even people that are not in my past that that all women are not to be trusted. People make out these women are the sweet and innocent ones, and they're not always. Some of them can be behind a lot of affairs and things. But I mean, obviously the guy knows what he's doing if he wants to have affair, and asexual can have emotional affairs, so you've still got to, even though you're asexual, you've still got to think of all these things. So I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful in some ways. These are what you need to know. Make sure that your that your expectations for a start are very similar or the same in a relationship, potential relationship. Talk about this in the first few conversations you have with this potential person or people in your life, and then make sure that your beliefs and ideas are similar. It's no good if someone like is strongly, for example, talks about God all the time, and the other person's an atheist, and they just rub each other up the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? If those type of people were living together in a house, if they can accept each other, because I have an atheist friend, I believe in God, but I'm not strictly religious, so me and them respect each other, and I don't mind. It doesn't bother me the fact they don't believe in God whatsoever. It doesn't bother me that, so it can work if it's not bothering you. But if they're like, I have these people that come on and friend me sometimes, and they just talk about God all the time, and that is too much for me. It's like their whole life revolves around the Lord's speech. And in my past, when I have been to church youth club years ago, there was a lot of hypocritical people actually in the church community that I went to, and I'm not strictly religious, I'm more spiritual than religious. So if someone was constantly going on about like God and religion all the time, to me that would not be comfortable for me to be with, you see. So you've really got to work out the people that you're with. You've got to talk upfront and honestly with each other about if you're basically your deal breakers, if they're similar or the same, your life goals, your ambitions and dreams are the same, where you see yourself in the next 5 years. So you can work out whether you are going to want to be in the same place with each other, like emotionally, spiritually, physically, work out, if the beliefs and ethics and morals, if they're the same sort of things, your values, like I'm really glad this person loves animals because I love animals. I don't want to be with someone, for example, who doesn't like animals, because I've got my angel and I will always love animals. To have someone who doesn't like animals in my life would not be good in a relationship. So that was the thing I loved. There's lots of things that's nice about the person, just that me and them our goals, ambitions and dreams for the future and right now in life are completely different, So in a lot of ways, not in some of the relationship sense, but in the sense of what we want to do with our lives, where we want to head. They want to travel, I want to build up my finances where I am, and stay where I am, So anyway, I hope this has been useful, helpful, insightful for you in some way. So it's been useful, helpful, insightful for you in any way, shape or form, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps to get them up in search engine rankings, helps to get greater visibility on this channel, and helps other asexuals. I like to help asexuals all across the spectrum, lots of different aspects of asexuality and life itself, people don't really go into so much detail on other channels. I don't think about the fundamentals of being asexual and having relationships and living together with people, and how being an asexual is in data life. I mean, if you saw my last videos about hyperromanticism, you may not be hyperromantic yourself. Maybe you don't even want to know about it. But I did those videos because there are a few people that are hyperromantic. And if you ever come across a hyperromantic, you kind of know what they're about, like being in a hyperromantic state is kind of, to me, as an outsider, I would think that hyperromanticism is some weird notion that doesn't actually happen to anyone, but it really does. And that's why I shared those last couple of videos with you to show you that actually what it's fundamentally like. Like, this is the third stage of it, where you actually got the logical stage, which is where you've come to the conclusion that why the person's not compatible with you, even though in the first stage you're loved up, romance and all the rest of it. Then the second stage is, you're like, whoa, scary, why am I thinking this about someone that I don't even know? And then you kind of like see some of the realities, but you don't want to accept it. And then you see, the third stage is logical stage, which is where most people should be at, like, all the time, like you go and learn the fundamentals about the person, what they're interested in, what their hobbies, goals, ambitions and dreams. And if you're not compatible, you're just not compatible. You can't make yourself be compatible with each other, if you're not, because that would just be hurtful for both of you. And I want every asexual to have the most beautiful, amazing, wonderful relationships going forward, where they're romantic, platonic, where it's sharing a house. And I just want to help you to have successful relationships, Well, I have to go and start making macaroni and cheese for today's dinner. Goodbye. Yeah, I'm finishing now, Michael. So give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you so much for watching today. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't below already. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so get notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video. Enjoy your food, Michael. And I will see you soon. Thanks for the thumbs up. Take care, people.